Hello everyone, this is Jagati Soni and I am back with my new video which is presentation on critical appreciation or critical analysis of the good morrow. Actually this is also one of my assignment to my college and that's why I have written like this. So see here is about John Donne who is the poet of Good Morrow, and Good Morrow is a very famous poem by John Donne. First point is about when he was born. He was born on 22nd of January 1572 in London, England, and died on 31st March 1631 at the age of 59 in London, England itself. By occupation, he was a poet, priest, and lawyer. His nationality was English, and alma mater was Hart Hall, Oxford University of Cambridge. By genre, he used to write means satire, love poetry, elegy, and sermons. Subject of his poem were love, sexuality, religion, and death. Literary movement was metaphysical poetry. Here are some quotes by John Donne. First one is, no man is an ideal, an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of continent. And the next is, I did best when I had least truth for my subjects. Next slide is about critical appreciation or analysis of the good morrow. See, we will study one by one all these points. Firstly, I have mentioned here the poem, so you can read it by pausing the video. And next is summary of the poem like this. The poem is based on love. It explains the three phases of love, the first phase being life before love. Donne says that it was a meaningless life which they lived without any charm. They were like childs who were fed by others. They hardly knew the meaning of life. He says they were in a deep slumber and life was boring and dormant. He liked nothing now. If he has any desire for beauty and dreams, it is to get her love. In the second stanza, poet explains the second phase of life and where he has met his beloved and now are living happily. He welcomes that life and wishes it good morning. It is in the first verse of the second stanza where he mentions the title of the poem, which is Good Morrow. He tells her beloved that they should make this little room as their world and should not be bothered about the new discoveries of the world. In the third stanza, he says that her beloved is very beautiful and he keeps on looking in her eyes and she looks in his eyes. Thus, they can see their face in each other's eyes. This is a very romantic poem. And in the last line is like this. He says, if they love each other truly, even death would fail to kill them. Next is about themes. Life without love is the first theme. One of the themes of the poem is life without love. This theme is discussed in the first stanza of the poem. He says there was no charm in life before he met his beloved. They were treated as children by people. Life seemed to be dormant as if they had sleeping for a long time. They were not attracted by the beautiful things at all. Second is life full of love. The next and major theme of the poem is love. After he met his beloved, their life changed suddenly. It seemed as if they woke from a deep slumber. Now they should forget about everything and only love each other. They should not be bothered by the expansion of the universe, rather, this little room will be their universe. Third is loyalty in love. Another theme of the poem is loyalty on love, and the poet says that if they be faithful to each other and love equally, even death will fail to kill them. The last two themes are like this: spiritual awakening. Though the Good Morrow directly concerns worldly love, its heavily religious themes suggest that sensual love can help further our understanding of spiritual love and vice versa. Donne's poem in many ways echoes description of religious conversations as the speaker and his lover awake from the thoughtless enjoyment of worldly country pleasures to a higher form of understanding. Next is theme of canonization, which is the poet asserts and the superiority of the ideal love over the physical love. He takes the love as the sacred concept. He established the unique relationship between the soul and the body of the lovers. He says that the death can't bring separation to their love. It can only harm their physical union and not their spiritual love. He says that their love for each other is superior and immortal. He gives the ideas about the post-coital love. He says he has given the idea about collapsing the physical and platonic love. The next is form of the poem, which is the good moral poem analysis, summary, critical analysis, and critical appreciation can be seen in this way. The poem is dramatic monologue. The poet addresses to his beloved in a happy mood. He says that before this experience of love, he was in the state of unconsciousness. Now he talks about the happy moment of her life spent with her lover, with his lover. The poet talks with her in a very mellow tone. He appreciates his experience of falling in love with his beloved. He thinks that all the day spent before this experience was the illusion of this love. Next is the main idea of the poem. See, the main idea is all about the gist of the poem, so pay attention here. The poem is about the meeting of the two lovers and about their experience of love. John Donne has expressed his love for his beloved in the poem. He says that he was in the state of unconsciousness before falling in love with his beloved. He welcomes this beautiful event in his life. Good morrow is the greeting remarks of the two passionate lovers. Good morrow is about the union of two souls. The central idea of the poem is about the intellectual idea about the love and the union of the two lovers. Next is as a metaphysical poem. Good Morrow is considered as the metaphysical poem because of the startling and unique conceits in the poem. Metaphysical poem represents the tangible ideas. John Donne has presented the two different ideas are compared with each other. He has compared the two lovers with the two hemispheres. Good Morrow is poem of unique precision. This is also the characteristics of the metaphysical poetry. The diction of the poem must be simple and straightforward. This gives a metaphysical touch to the lyrical poetry. John Donne has used metaphysical conceits in the poem. He has drawn these conceits from every field of the life. Metaphysical poetry is highly intellectual in its nature. It is a dramatic and abrupt in its nature. Next slide is about metaphysical conceits in the poem. This poem is the highly concentrated intellectual poem. John Donne has given the metaphysical conceits in the poem. He compares the two very different ideas in the poem. He compares himself and his beloved to the hemisphere of the world. He says that they can build the whole world. He compares himself to the one world and his beloved to another world. He gives the idea about the completeness of love by comparing themselves to the one world. He has drawn the idea about world from the geographical knowledge. This shows his wide range and store of this knowledge and the concept of blending the two souls like a harmonious ingredient comes from his knowledge from the chemistry. He says that their souls will be mixed and their love will exist ever. The love is immortal and sacred. The death can't destroy their pleasures of love. Death can only destroy their physical union, but can't do their spiritual love. He is in favor of spirituality of his love and takes it as a religious subject. Next slide is about religious reference to the seven sleepers. See, the word seven sleepers is used in the poem and what it referred to is here mentioned. He has introduced the religious concept about his lover. He feels himself that he was in a state of unconsciousness till they love each other. He says that he feels awakened after the experience of love. The seven Christian brothers slept for 200 years in the cave in order to save themselves from the persecution. They hid themselves in the cave and were sleeping and snoring there for a long period of time. He felt that he was also sleeping before falling in love with her, and when he woke up, he started to admire the love and presence of his beloved. He started to love his beloved as a waking soul. Next is about diction of the poem. John Donne uses the poem to be presented as an ode of love. The tone and the mood of the poem are happy and expressive. The poem is consisted of the three stanzas. Each stanza of the poem is consisted of the quatrains and triplet. John Donne has used the images of hemisphere to show their idea of love. He uses exaggeration to highlight his ideas about the spiritual love. He also gives the paradoxical remarks in the poem. He says that true plain hearts do in the faces rest. He uses metaphysical conceits to exaggerate his ideas about the presence of his beloved. Good Morrow is a poem about the perfect experience of love between soul and the body. The physical union is regarded as the spiritual subject. In short, the Good Morrow poem analysis, summary, critical analysis, theme, and the Good Morrow critical appreciation, metaphysical poem, all of them reveals John Donne's art of writing. The last slide is about conclusion. Good Morrow is a masterpiece by John Donne. The poem concludes with the speaker starting that their love is balanced like a healthy body. So thank you for now and let's meet in the new video. Thank you.